If you ask me about Azure migration experience, yes, I've worked extensively on it and not just small scale. One of the major projects I was involved in was migrating close to 1,500 servers from VMware to Azure using a lift and shift approach. This was not a quick project, it ran for around 1.5 years. So, when I talk about migration, it's coming from actual ground level execution, not just theory. Now, most people think migration is just move servers to Azure, but in reality, that's the easiest part. The real work starts much before that. The first thing we always do is understand the current environment. Without that, you're completely blind. You need to know what servers exist, what applications are running, how they are connected, what depends on what. At the same time, in parallel, we focus on setting up the landing zone in Azure. This is very critical. If your landing zone is not designed properly, networking, identity, subscriptions, policies, you will start facing issues later during migration or even worse, after migration. Once the landing zone is ready, we move to Azure MIgrate. We set up the required appliances, mainly discovery and replication appliances. Now, this step sounds simple, but in real time, this is where you start seeing issues. Permissions, firewall restrictions, antivirus blocking installations, GPO restrictions. These things are very common. After the appliances are in place, we start the discovery phase. This is where we get the full inventory of all the virtual machines along with dependency mapping. Dependency mapping is very important because it tells you which servers are talking to each other. Based on this discovery data, we start creating move groups or batches. Initially, this is purely from a technical perspective, but we don't finalize anything at this stage. We take this data to the business and application teams. Now, this is where things become more dynamic. Sometimes the business already knows their applications very well. They will tell you which servers belong to which application, what is critical, what is not, what can go first, what cannot. That makes life easier. But in many cases, they don't have complete clarity. That's when we as migration SMEs step in. We start asking the right questions, understanding the application stack, how traffic flows, what dependencies exist. Based on that, we refine the move groups. This entire phase, discovery, assessment, dependency mapping, and move group creation, is actually the most critical part of the migration. If you make mistakes here, your migration will fail later. This phase involves a lot of discussions, multiple stakeholder meetings, and continuous refinements. Usually project managers and leadership handle coordination, but from a technical standpoint, we are the front face. We drive these discussions. Once the move groups are finalized and agreed upon, we move into the planning phase. This includes identifying downtime windows, aligning with business schedules, raising ITSM changes, and preparing for replication. Then comes the execution phase. We enable replication, perform test migrations, and then go for actual migration. Test migration is useful, but I'll be honest, it doesn't guarantee success in actual migration. Post-migration, we have a stabilization period, typically around 7 days. During this time, we validate everything, application functionality, connectivity, performance, and fix any issues that come up. Only after that do we hand over to the operations team. Now, let me talk about reality because this is where most interviews miss the point. Migration is not smooth. You will face issues continuously. Sometimes appliances won't configure properly because of permission issues. Sometimes VMs won't even get discovered. Firewalls block communication. Antivirus blocks installation. Group policies restrict access. These are very common. And even after successful migration, issues don't stop. A server might not come online. It may not register with DNS. RDP might not work. Linux servers might get stuck in boot. Highly hardened servers are especially problematic. And here's something very important. Every server is different. You cannot assume anything. The server you think is easiest might become the most complex one. Test migration might work perfectly, but during actual migration, it may fail. That unpredictability is something you only understand when you work on real migrations. Team structure, typically you'll have a small team, one lead, 2 engineers, and 1 architect. On paper, it looks balanced. But in reality, those 2 engineers are the backbone of the migration. They are the ones executing everything. Replication, migration, troubleshooting. They are critical to the success of the project. Leads and architects define the approach and solution, but engineers are the actual implementers. In my case, I've also taken on responsibilities beyond just technical work. Sometimes I had to act as a project manager, handling coordination, managing timelines, aligning with stakeholders, because migration requires both technical depth and operational control. If you're preparing for Azure migration roles, don't just focus on tools like Azure Migrate. Understand the process end to end. Learn how to ask the right questions, understand dependencies, handle failures, and work with business teams. Migration is not just about moving servers, it's about planning, coordination, problem solving, and adapting to unexpected challenges. That's how it really works in real-time Azure migration projects.